Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today, as you guys can see here, I received my NFL Blitz. I got my order from Sam's Club, so I did get the stool with it, which I'll be showing you guys throughout the video. And here it is, the Blitz cabinet, the hot topic that we've been having going on in the arcade scene in the last month. And before I start this video on the impressions, the reason that this is labeled in impressions is because, as we all know, online play is still not on this cabinet yet, so I can't give my full recommendation or opinions on everything yet, because online is a big key component for a lot of people. And from what we know so far, it should be coming out sometime, hopefully, in the middle of October, because as we all know, a lot of these units ended up shipping early. Arcade1up was kind of scrambling because Walmart and Sam's Club and all that stuff were getting their units out before they should have, and people were receiving theirs, and then people who pre-ordered Arcade1up weren't getting theirs even though they pre-ordered first. So it was a kind of a whole big fiasco. So then they started pushing out all the orders at Arcade1up, so everyone got their machines early. But what that means is that the people who are making this game and kind of finishing up last-minute bugs and taking care of things that are going on in the online gameplay, obviously they're not ready for the launch now. They were kind of planning to be ready in mid-October. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, there were some comments made by Arcade1up recently that they were having some issues with online play, which is obviously a little bit scary to hear. So we'll see how that all pans out. But I'll be doing an updated video on this cabinet as soon as that comes out, and then I can give you my full recommendation or not, depending on how that goes. But for now, I'm going to give you my first impressions on the cabinet itself, single-player gameplay, how the arcade stick feels, and all that kind of stuff that's new about this machine. But there's one other thing we got to cover before we get into the video, and that's my 4 main reasons on why I picked up this cab. I think it's important for you guys to understand why I got this cabinet so you guys can make your own decision on if it's something that you guys want to do. So I have 4 reasons. My number 1 reason that we got it is because of the actual artwork, to be honest. Because when I first saw this cabinet, I looked at it and I showed my wife, because me and her she's a Dolphins fan and I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. So when we saw the artwork, I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, they actually have our team over here on the right side of the cabinet. We got the 49ers, Jerry Rice promoted on there. We got Dan Marino there sitting for the Dolphins. So that'd be a cool cabinet to have in our room because it has both our teams on it. So that was number 1. I liked the artwork when I first saw it. It matched the 2 teams that we liked as NFL fans. So that was number 1. Then number 2, of course, is for the online play that we just talked about. And we'll see how that plays out. But I'm really looking forward to playing this game online because obviously I have a lot of fun playing online. A lot of the fighters that I have downstairs, like Street Fighter and stuff, I get my ass kicked in that game because I'm not really that great into fighters. But I know I could definitely take some of you guys down in NFL Blitz. So I'm looking forward to the online lobbies opening up so we can all get there and kind of play with each other. So that was reason number 2, was online play. The number 3 reason that I wanted to get this cabinet separates it from just playing a regular old Mame machine, which I have a modded NBA Jam downstairs with all the 4-player games, and I have a giant 32-inch Retro Masters machine with every game on there too. That's 2-player, so I could play it on there too. But the third reason that I wanted to get this machine, and that of course is the 49-way joystick that we have here. The 49-way joystick is obviously unique to NFL Blitz, and it's the first time Arcade1up has ever put anything like this into an arcade cabinet. Most of the ones that they do either 4-way or 8-way. So this is really unique. There's only a few games back in the arcades that actually use the 49-way joystick, NFL Blitz being one of them. These sticks alone cost $100 each. So just if you want to go buy them, so they're really expensive. So it was interesting to get a cab that had 4 of these already in there that Arcade1up custom made, and how these actually turn out. And that was also another reason that I really wanted it, because it would obviously make the gameplay better, something that I couldn't get out of my regular Mame machine downstairs or my other machines that I have down there. This would make this one unique. And the last reason I want to talk about here is the fact that this is being touted as HD 60 FPS. Now, I knew about the 60 FPS, I know that it was going to be faster and all that, so I expected that. The HD that kept being touted is something that I always wondered. I was like, are they just touting that, but the game's not going to look any better than just playing on my regular, modded NBA Jam that I have all my games on, or my Retro Masters 32 inches? HD actually going to make a difference and is actually going to look good? So that was something that I wanted, but I wanted to see what it would actually look like in practice to see if that actually made a difference. So those are my 4 main reasons of why I wanted to get this machine and didn't just want to play NFL Blitz downstairs on my regular Mame machine downstairs that I already have. So those are kind of what separate my Mame machine to this one, but we'll see if they actually do a good job. So we're going to talk about most of these now. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming tech is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so let's start talking about getting a closer look into the actual artwork that I just talked about with you guys. That was one of my main reasons to get this cabinet. And as you can see, what I'm talking about here is Jerry Rice from the 49ers being right here on the right, and then the Dolphins, Dan Marino being right there, and you can see the NFL Blitz logo. You can see that on the side here, they decided to put all the signatures of the legends that are sitting on the side here. So Dan Marino signatures and Jerry Rice and stuff like that sitting on the side. And then you kind of have the same thing on the other side with the other players as well. You got Brett Favre and stuff on this side. And then there's their signatures there at the bottom as well. So the signatures and all that stuff look really good. Now, I don't know if it's becoming apparent in this video, but one of the things I was worried about is before I got my cabinet, a lot of people were talking about the fact that this artwork on the side was a little bit grainy and pixelated, and it didn't look very good. Now, I was worried about it. I told my wife that I was worried about it and stuff, and we both looked at it when it got here, and I'm a lot happier with it than I thought that I would be. Because when I first heard about it, I thought it wasn't going to look very good, and I was nervous about it. And looking at it here in person, if you step away from where I am here, it's even hard to notice unless if you know to look for it. But as you get closer, of course, you can kind of see there the grainy artwork. Hopefully that's coming across there. So the NFL logo and all that stuff is really nice and crystal clear, but then the players actually have like this grainy look to them, kind of makes it like old school. I actually think it looks pretty good. Because it kind of matches the fact that NFL Blitz is older and stuff, but this is going to be very unique to you. It's going to depend on if you like this style or not. Obviously, if I was given the choice, I probably would have preferred it not to be like this. If somebody sat in front of me and said, hey, which version of the art do you want? But I'm a lot happier with what this actually turned out to be, and I still think it looks like a really, really good cabinet. It has the nice artwork with the NFL players and the NFL logo and stuff like that. And I think it really pops in an arcade room regardless, and I do like the pixelation on there because it kind of gives it that retro look. And I didn't think I was going to like it, but I ended up liking it more than I thought, which was good. And my wife had the same opinion I do, so we're both happy with the way it looks. And then, of course, we got the artwork here in the front. We got the panel here. The control panel here looks also really, really, really good. I love the purple. Like, again, it sticks out in a room really nicely. They have the protector here. You can barely tell it's even on. They did a really nice job with the artwork. They got the offensive buttons there that you can take a look at, and the defense, so it reminds you. You got the special mode sitting up there, passing to a receiver and all that stuff. So you got those controls. All the controls are, of course, labeled. 4-player start buttons and all that stuff. So that looks really good. Then we got the coin doors there at the bottom that we all nice and like, the plastic coin doors. And then the NFL logo here on the bottom. The NFL Blitz logo, and then the NFL on the side art there. So overall, as far as the artwork goes on the machine, I'm really happy with it. And I think it's one of the best looking cabs that they've actually made. Even considering that pixelation on the side, like I said, I ended up liking it more than I thought. Taking everything into account, the artwork here and everything, I think it looks really good, and it's definitely one of the more lookers that they've come out with in a while as far as like a statement piece in a game room, in my opinion, especially if you're an NFL fan. The next thing we got to talk about is the marquee. Now, this is where I think they could have improved it a little bit. I don't think it's the worst one that they've ever made, but I definitely don't think it's the best. I have other ones that look a lot better. I mean, this one over here isn't necessarily a Arcade1up machine, but just as a comparison, look how bright like this Guitar Hero machine looks like here, and how vibrant that looks on there for the marquee. This one looks a little bit washed out. It's not, like I said, it's not as bad as I thought it was, but it doesn't look as good as some of their other ones have come out to be. So a little disappointed that they could have done better with this one, but it's, like I said, it still doesn't look bad. Obviously, I could replace it if I want to one day, but I don't think it looks bad enough where I'm rushing to order a replacement immediately. But I do think that it may be something I consider down the line when I have some spare cash, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably upgrade that Blitz depending on how it looks like. So that's a little bit disappointing that it's not as good as it could be, but again, it isn't their worst. They've had plenty of other marquees back in the day that have been a lot worse than this. This one kind of sits in the middle ground for me, where it could have been much better compared to their later ones that have come out recently that have been good, and this kind of sits in the middle of the pack for me. So back onto the control deck that we got to talk about is, of course, the 49-way sticks. So these sticks right here are 49-way sticks. So that essentially means that you actually have control over moving more than just in 8 directions. And it gives you, like, you know, if you push it a little bit up, maybe you're moving a little bit fast, a little bit, and then you push it up a little bit more. Now you're moving really fast, and then all the way to the top. So it has that really fine control as you do it. And these are easily the best joysticks that Arcade1up has ever put on one of their machines. I know the bar's not super high because they're joysticks on most of their machines. A lot of people end up replacing, especially if you get fighters and stuff like that. But these are really good. They feel tight and they feel really easy to play with. and they feel good, and they feel really responsive. No reason as of right now. Of course, this is early impressions. As long as they keep working as they are, and nothing breaks or anything, because these are relatively new. First time that Arcade1up has done something like this with a 49-way joystick. But if they hold up, the impressions I'm getting from just the gameplay and stuff is they're really, really good joysticks, and they did a really good job, and easily the best on any one of their machines. Now, one of the things I should warn you guys when you guys get this out of the box is you need to calibrate these joysticks, especially if one of them's acting weird, so immediately calibrate. I know a lot of you guys don't like to read instructions, but here in the instructions it says joystick calibration. So this is how you do it. You turn off the machine, you hold player 1 and player 2 and the live button at the same time. Turn the machine on, keep holding that power button until you see that English mode there, and then you essentially just press the player 1 and you calibrate the stick by moving it in a circle twice. Do the same thing with player 2, player 3, player 4, and then you're good to go. If you don't do that, you may have the controls feel a little bit weird, wonky. They may start moving left or right when you're going up and down. A lot of weird issues, so make sure that you calibrate it as soon as you get on there. I'm letting you guys know because I know a lot of people, including myself, like to skip the instructions, but I knew to be aware of calibrating it. So definitely calibrate your sticks as soon as it goes, as soon as you turn it on, so you're ready to go. The next thing we got to talk about here is the screen itself. Of course, this is a 17-inch screen, as we're all aware, with these 3/4 scales. Let me lower the volume of this just a little bit so you guys can hear me. But the HD screen on here is really, really nice. Like obviously this is a BOE monitor, but everything just looks really, really good. All the colors pop off the screen. I'm really, really impressed with the quality of the screen being used here. It makes the graphics pop. And yes, this game in HD, and you guys will see it when I do the gameplay comparison here, there is a noticeable difference of the characters and the colors popping more off the screen, everything having an HD look to it. Hopefully it's coming across here in the video on how nice and crystal clear this screen actually looks. And when I do the gameplay comparison, you can see that this game definitely looks better than if I just turn on like my Mame machine and kind of play this game on Mame. This is definitely the HD version. Not only is it 60 FPS, but it's got a nice cleaner look to it, and the graphics are definitely more improved than just running it off of Mame, which that's what I was worried about. I said one of my reasons was I wanted to get this game because it was in HD, but I wasn't really sure if they were just using that word as just like, hey, that's just a word that we're going to use, even though it's not really true. But no, you can tell that this game definitely looks a little bit better than the other version does. There was definitely some work there in making it HD. Colors pop off the screen, the graphics are nicer, and textures are a little bit more improved on the players and stuff like that. So definitely noticeable if you play them side by side, and if you play this game a lot, you'll immediately notice the HD and the speed of the game. So when you first get this machine and you turn it on, there's going to be an update that you need to do, of course, if you want to keep up. Especially because when you first get the cab, at least the Sam's Club version that I got on the box, it only comes with 2 games, so you need to actually update the game, and it gives you the 3rd game on the main menu. Otherwise, you're only going to have 2, so keep that in mind to update. Otherwise, you're only going to see 2 games at the main menu. So we, of course, have NFL Blitz, which is 2-player. We have NFL Blitz 99, which is 4-player, and then NFL Blitz Gold Edition right here. So just to go into the settings of the game real quick, there's not much going on in any of them right now. I don't know if they're going to add more options when the next update comes out, but right now it's just game time speed that you can kind of go ahead and do. And then default settings is kind of grayed out, so you can't really do anything with it. And all 3 games are exactly the same, so there's not much to change in here right now. What I do want to do is give you guys a couple of minutes of gameplay on each of these. I've played about 3 or 4 games so far on here. I just got this machine here yesterday when you guys are watching this video. So I've played a few games already, and I'm going to show you guys a quick couple of minutes of each one, because I keep hearing a lot of people say, well, not a lot of people, I saw some people say that when you play NFL Blitz and NFL Blitz 99, not so much 2000. 2000 seems most people are saying is playing really well, which is what I'm seeing. But they're saying that in NFL Blitz and NFL Blitz 99, sometimes the game is freezing every time that an interception happens or something. And I haven't noticed that. I've gotten a couple of interceptions in NFL Blitz and NFL Blitz 99. Everything has run perfectly smooth for me without any issues at all. So I'm not sure exactly why there's a variance of difference there. Or maybe I'm just gotten lucky. I'm not exactly sure, but I'll show you guys the proof right here. I'm going to try to throw interceptions on purpose here, show you guys some of the gameplay so you guys can get an idea. But one of the things I almost forgot to mention when I was doing the overview of the cabinet is the speakers. The speakers are fantastic. They're really loud. They sound really good. They have some nice bass to it. So no issues at all with the with speakers or anything like that. So happy to report that the speakers sound really good on this cab, so you won't have any issues with that. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. Go ahead and raise the volume a little bit. So remember, this is only a 2-player game. The original NFL Blitz, we're going to hit no for that because we're not going to be playing the full game anyway. Of course, I'm going to choose San Francisco here.
Today's matchup, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So let's go ahead and see what happens
This game
here.
is underway.
Tells you how to play right here in the beginning. Try to dive over him. So let's see if we can get a pick here on purpose. Like again, I'm going to try and throw a pick for you guys to see if anybody else is seeing anything. It was wide open. It was a good play. But you can see while we're doing this that this is really, really smooth. Gameplay feels nice and fast. It's really smooth to play. The graphics in HD look fantastic in my opinion. Yeah, there's the interception. It didn't do anything. It paused for that split second while the camera rotates, just like the Mame edition of the game does in every other game that I've ever played NFL Blitz on. But that's normal. But there's no freezing involved, and that's what I keep seeing. I played these games, like I said, 3 or 4 times now, full games, and I haven't seen any of that happening to me. Obviously, we all know that there is no late hits in the game, so you'll see that here in a minute. So you can see when you dive, it doesn't do anything. It kind of just makes the guy jump over him, so you could still do the animation, but I wasn't paying attention with the field goal. But you can see that, you know, you can't actually do anything in that case. Do a little stiff arm. Oh, that didn't work. Damn, he got leveled. So the game is still really fast-paced, really fun to play. I know, like I said, late hits aren't in the game, which is unfortunate. But that's obviously what they had to do with the NFL to actually get this game to come out. We all know this by now, even though we all wanted it. That's kind of how it is. But the game didn't lose anything, in my opinion, as far as fun factor. I know I wish the late hits were in here too, because it's fun to do and just mess with your opponent. But it doesn't take away from the game being fun, and playing this game online when online does happen, whenever that may be, is going to be awesome. Oof. So let's go ahead now and show you guys a little bit of Blitz 99, so you guys can get a feel for that one here. A couple minutes of gameplay of that one. We'll do the first quarter just like we did the last one there. Alright, not bad, not bad. So yeah, like I said, it's running as smooth as I've ever seen this game run. I've played this game on Mame all the time. And it's nothing that I've ever, you know, it's running smoother than I've ever seen the game run on any of the classic systems that I've ever played on. I usually play it on Mame. Oh, and this is definitely much smoother, much nicer looking in HD, and that's definitely a fact here. Oh, that was a bad throw. Smooth as silk, essentially, right now. Ah, he had to have fell backwards. I would have gone for it. Let's go ahead and let's just go for it. No, not like that. Oh man, I thought I had him on the touchdown, but then he curved to the left. All right, you guys will see some defense. Oh, that was terrible. Come on, are you serious? Computer always does some nonsense. Man, I went for the jump to try and catch that, to try and catch his pass there. Oh, are you kidding me? Go. There you go, there you go. Nice return, nice return. And there's your first quarter of Blitz 99. So again, it runs really well. Let's go ahead and exit. We'll do a little bit of 2000 gold here. And as I continue playing this game, if for some reason that thing that a couple of people mentioned where it kind of freezes up when there's interceptions or something like that, obviously I'll comment on this video that I made and I'll sticky it at the top if that ends up happening. But so far, every game I played has been really smooth, like you guys are seeing here. I haven't had any issues with that kind of stuff. And of course, we all got to remember that they have about 92% of the roster on here, so you won't have every single player on here. They have every single QB except for one across all the games, which is really important because you're using the QB a lot. So that's good. So they got 92% of the roster, so definitely a pretty good number, considering how much of a nightmare it must have been to get these licenses intact. Let's go! I caught that myself too. Let's go. Oof. Alright, alright, alright. Oh, I was going to throw it to that guy right there, too. No, we don't go for 3 points here. Actually, we just did by accident. And that was... Oh, we did a fake. My bad. Didn't see the button I hit. And it didn't work out. For some reason, I thought I hit a different play. Ooh, got lucky with that. Oh, we need to get a sack on this QB. Got lucky I even tripped that guy with how bad that was. I went for the tackle on the QB. There we go. And we got a turnover too.
Ball at midfield.
Oh, come on. Give it to him. Oh, no. Drop that right there. Fourth and 13, and the first again. Let's just finish this drive here real quick before we end the game. Oh, no. Alright. Well, you can see I did really well here on camera. I usually do a little bit better than that against the CPU, but apparently not right now. We're not doing very well. There we go. We got that sack on the QB, though, so we're going to end it right there. So you guys can see the gameplay is really smooth on all three games for me so far. Like, again, if anything changes and I end up noticing that hitching or the freezing that some of the people were talking about, I'll put it in the comment on this video. But so far, so good with the gameplay. Joysticks feel great. The sound is really good. And that's why I'm excited for online to come out and see where they're going with that. Because if the game runs as good as it does now in single player online, we're going to have a lot of fun playing online. So before we wrap up this video, let me just show you a quick couple of minutes of gameplay of what this game looks like on my NBA Jam that's modded. It is on a bigger screen, of course, so you guys are going to see a 20-inch, because that's the Dell monitor that I put in there. This is running on a Mame machine, so you guys can kind of get a feel for what I mean as far as this game being HD that you guys just saw in the gameplay versus the one that I have on my other one, that there is a pretty good difference on this one being a lot more HD and higher textures and stuff on the players and popping off the screen. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Alright guys, so here we are with NFL Blitz on my modded NBA Jam cabinet. This is NFL Blitz 2000, of course. So let's go ahead and pick our team. Just to show you guys what it looks like. This is on a 20-inch screen. Modded NBA Jam cab here.
So of course I do like having the bigger screen on here, that's for sure. But just looking at the game and looking at it start right here, for anybody who was paying attention, you can definitely see that the game doesn't look as crisp and clean as the Arcade1up version does. And I don't know how easily it's coming across in the video, but just looking at this screen here, the other screen's a little bit clearer. You can see that the player textures and stuff aren't as nice looking. So the other one is definitely more HD, and I was surprised myself on how much more HD it actually looked than I expected it to. Like, this game is still really good, especially playing it on a 20-inch screen, which kind of gives it some advantage there. Damn it. And there's an interception. But you can see there that the game, like I was talking about, the game pauses and then kind of switches when you get an interception, which is the same thing I see on the Arcade1up version. I don't see any lag or anything. So, do have delayed hits, though. So there is that. Definitely it's fun to do the late hits. There's no question about that. I just think it doesn't take away from the game being fun. I think it's unfortunate that it's not here thanks to the NFL, but it's not going to be my deciding factor on playing the game or not.
First down.
As you guys can see, the game still runs pretty smooth, as it would on the graphics card I'm using. It would. I didn't hit turbo there by accident, but
Third down.
oh no, damn it! Real bad showcase of me playing this game. Freaking popped in the air.
First down.
There you go. Not gonna get any touchdowns or anything in this first half, but yeah, both games are really fun, as you guys can see here. I just think one looks a lot better and a lot cleaner. You can tell one's made in the modern era. And yeah, hopefully that comes across in the video here on the fact that this one looks really good, but definitely doesn't look as good as the Arcade1up version, and it surprised me on how much better the HD and the 60 FPS feels on our Arcade1up version. I did forget to show you guys this stool, so let me just put this in the video real quick for you guys. This is what the stool looks like. I think the stool actually looks really good. It does have that grainy effect as well on the players that the side art does. So you can see that there. It's kind of the same if you go up close, but I think it looks really good on the stool, especially when you're looking at it like this. I think it definitely goes really well, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with the stool, especially for those of us who have like NFL man caves and all that kind of stuff. This kind of showing off the teams looks really good, and I'm happy that it's the 49ers and the Dolphins on the stool, because that's obviously me and my wife's favorite teams.
All right, guys, so that was my first impressions on NFL Blitz here, as you guys can see. And overall, so far, I'm really, really impressed. The problem here is that we're all waiting for the main feature that a lot of us got this cabinet for, and that's, of course, the online gameplay. And with the comments that they made last week and all of us being nervous that they're having issues running it, we don't know exactly what online is going to look like. So that's what's making me hesitant, and that's why this is an impressions video, until I can see how that looks like and how that turns out. And then I can give my recommendations on if people should purchase this or not in my full review. So look forward to that video coming out with online gameplay, and I'll show you guys how it runs when that comes out. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. But as of right now, if we just take the cab for what is here and we put online to the side for a second, most of this stuff here is really, really impressive. The joysticks on here, the 49-way joysticks, the first time they've ever done something like this, is easily the best joystick they've ever put on a cab before. They're really tight, really smooth, and they work extremely well. The fact that we're getting 4 of them when these things can easily go for over $100, if you get the really good ones, we're getting a lot of value on just the joysticks there. Obviously, these aren't going to be as good as the ones that cost $100 each, but just to put it in some sort of perspective, that's what 49-way joysticks cost, and they had these custom made. And they feel really good, and they work really well in the game, and really, really smooth, and give you even more fine control in the game of NFL Blitz, which is one of the reasons why I got this machine. The actual artwork on the side was something I was worried about with people talking about the grainy artwork, but I ended up liking it more than I thought. Of course, I would still prefer if it was all crystal clear, but the grainy artwork kind of fits the aesthetic of it being like a retro cabinet, a retro NFL Blitz from the 90s and stuff. So I'm not mad at it, and I think it does look really good as is, and I have no issues with it, and I really do like the cabinet. I actually still think overall with the purple and the control panel artwork and everything and the NFL logos and kind of just as a package in whole, I think this is going to stand out in your game room and everyone's going to come up to it and be like, oh, that cabinet looks really good. So, and I really, really like it overall. The other thing we got to talk about, of course, is the marquee. The marquee is something that's a little bit of a disappointment because it's not as good as some of their recent cabs, and I thought that they had this stuff fixed. This one's a little bit washed out. It's not the worst that they've ever come out with, but it's definitely not the best, so it kind of sits somewhere in the middle of the road. It may be something that I one day swap out. It's not so bad that I want to swap it out tomorrow, but it's not great. It has a little bit of a washout effect, so it may be something I look to change out in the future, which is unfortunate. We wish that was better, like some of the more recent cabs have been. And then we got to talk about the screen. The screen looks really, really good. It's a BOE monitor, of course, but the HD graphics of the game really pop on this screen, and they look fantastic to make the game playing a lot of fun. And the HD graphics that are in this game, the HD 60 FPS, made a bigger difference than I ever thought it would. I showed you guys a comparison gameplay. You could definitely tell this game is in HD, that it's running at a high resolution. The characters, and not the characters, the NFL players have a crisp look to them. They look a lot better than the original, and you can tell that everything just has that HD look, and the gameplay is super smooth. Like I talked about and showed off in that gameplay, the game for me hasn't hitched or any of that stuff that I saw a couple people talking about where it froze or anything. I showed you guys the gameplay so far. If something changes, I'll leave a comment on this video, but so far I haven't seen the game hitch or do anything, and it's running smoother than my Mame cabinet can run this game, because sometimes on that one the audio glitches out, or sometimes it has a little bit of a slight glitch or something. Haven't seen that happen in this machine at all. It's been super, super, super smooth, so I'm really happy with the combination of the joysticks and the gameplay. The gameplay is fantastic fun. Even with the removal of the hits, where there's no late hits anymore, and having 92% of the roster, which is obviously something you have to consider if you actually want to buy this thing, if you're okay with those two things. I was happy to take that sacrifice. I have NFL Blitz downstairs if I want to play those things, but for me, the online gameplay, the HD graphics, and the joysticks and stuff kind of elevated above it, and this is going to be my go-to way of playing NFL Blitz, especially if I want to play online, of course, because there's no other way to do it when that comes to fruition in a couple of weeks, hopefully. But really, really happy with the HD graphics, the 60 FPS and all that stuff. So overall, right now, I'm really happy with the cabinet. Something that I would definitely recommend if this is where we were kind of stopping. But there's more to it. We're waiting for the online gameplay that we were talking about before. We have to see when that actually releases. If they release it by October 15th, which is the original date or so that these were supposed to come out, until that whole fiasco I talked about in the beginning of the video happened, I'll kind of give them a little bit of a pass. They have until October 15th, and I won't be mad at it because things happen. That's fine. But if it releases after October 15th and we still don't have online play, that means that they never had this plan to be ready for online gameplay on day one, which would be a super bummer. So hopefully they have it ready by October 15th, and then we can all please start playing online, and then I'll have my updated video showing you guys how that works. And if that works really well, then I think this cab overall is a slam dunk for Arcade1up as far as the most important thing, which is the controls, the joystick, the HD graphics, the gameplay being super smooth and all that stuff. So as long as we have online gameplay working as smooth as what this is working like online, then a lot of people are going to be super happy, and I can't wait to play you guys online. But we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks when I make my updated video, if that holds true. So if you guys have any questions on anything I may have missed in this video or anything you want to ask about, go ahead and leave those questions down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.